almost didn't go. I stood in my apartment doorway with my jacket half on, staring at the cracked mirror near the light switch. Looked tired in a way sleep couldn't fix. Not sick, not dramatic, just worn down from years of trying to explain myself to people who had already decided who I was. My mother had called 3 times that afternoon. "Everyone will be there," she said. "You don't come often anymore. Your uncle is visiting. Don't embarrass us." I went anyway. Old habit, old hope. Their house still smelled the same: fried onions, furniture polish, and something faintly bitter like burnt tea leaves. The dining table was crowded, plates already set, laughter spilling over each other before I even sat down. My cousins waved. My aunt smiled politely. Father barely looked up from his phone. I took my seat. At first, things were normal. Food passed. Small talk floated. Someone complained about traffic. Someone praised their son's new job. I nodded at the right moments. I always did. Then the jokes started. They always did. It began softly. "So?" my uncle said, chewing loudly. "What are you doing these days?" "Still experimenting." My mother laughed. "Experimenting is a nice word for it." My father finally looked up. "Finding himself," he said, smirking. "Some people take longer." A few chuckles. I smiled thinly and focused on my plate. Had heard every version of this before. "You're behind. You're confused. You wasted your education. You could have been more." Never asked what I actually did. They just assumed it wasn't worth knowing. My cousin leaned forward. "So, you making any money yet? Or is it still pocket change?" More laughter. Something in my chest tightened. I reminded myself, don't react, eat, go home. But then my mother joined in. She put her fork down dramatically and said, "Honestly, sometimes I worry. What will happen to you when we're gone? You can't live on dreams." My aunt added, "Yes, life isn't a movie." Then my father, louder than everyone else, "How does it feel to be useless?" He said it like a joke, with a smile, with confidence. Table burst into laughter. Not cruel laughter. Worse, comfortable laughter. The kind that assumes the target won't fight back. Felt heat rush to my face. My hands trembled slightly. I stared at my plate, at the rice sticking together, oil pooling near the edge. I thought about all the nights I'd worked until sunrise, all the risks I'd taken quietly, all the bills I'd paid without telling anyone, all the help I'd sent anonymously when my parents were struggling, had never corrected them. I thought humility was maturity. I thought silence was dignity. But silence had turned into permission. Before I could stop myself, I looked up. My voice came out calm, almost soft. "How does it feel?" I said, "knowing this useless one won't be paying your bills anymore." The laughter died instantly. Not slowly. Instantly. Forks froze mid-air. Someone coughed. Someone shifted in their chair. My mother blinked. What do you mean?" I hadn't planned to say it. Now that it was out, there was no taking it back. "I mean," I said, still quietly, "covering the electricity and part of the mortgage for the last 2 years. And your medical bills. And your loan." Father stared at me. That's not true." "It is," I replied. Silence again. Then my grandfather, who had been listening quietly the entire time, cleared his throat. He was the oldest in the room. The one everyone respected. The one whose words ended arguments. He looked at my parents. "It's true," he said. "I've seen the transfers." He asked me not to mention it. My mother's face drained of color. My father's jaw tightened. No one laughed now. No one spoke. They looked smaller somehow. Not weak. Just stripped of certainty. My aunt finally whispered, "Why didn't you say anything?" Shrug. "No one asked." The rest of dinner passed in strange politeness. My father avoided my eyes. Mother kept rearranging her napkin. My cousin suddenly treated me like fragile glass. No one mocked me again. No one apologized either. When dessert came, I declined. "I should go," I said. My mother stood up quickly. "Wait, we didn't mean—" "I know," I said. "You meant it as a joke." She looked down. Outside, the night air felt cooler than it should have. My hands were still shaking slightly as I walked to my car. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel proud. I felt empty. I had finally put down something heavy I'd been carrying for years, only to realize my arms didn't know what to do without it. On the drive home, memories surfaced. Being told I wasn't practical, being compared to cousins, being praised only when I followed their version of success. Spent so long trying to earn approval from people who benefited from my self-doubt. That night, my father texted, "Why didn't you tell us?" I stared at the screen for a long time before replying. I thought being useful quietly was enough. He didn't respond. Weeks passed. They became more careful with their words. More polite, less warm. Sometimes my mother tried too hard, sending long messages, asking about my work, praising things she didn't understand. Sometimes my father said nothing at all. Our relationship didn't collapse. But it didn't heal either. It shifted, like a wall that had cracked, not fallen, not repaired, just permanently changed. And strangely, I was okay with that. I stopped sending money automatically. I helped when I chose to, not when I was expected to. One evening, months later, I sat alone in my apartment, laptop open, city lights flickering through the window. I realized something. For the first time, I wasn't trying to prove anything. Not to them. Anyone. My worth no longer depended on being useful in silence. It rested quietly inside me, and that was enough.